Welcome back. This time on Movie Lapse, I am going to explain you a crime, drama, and thriller movie, called Joker. Sit back, relax and enjoy the video. Set against the backdrop of Gotham City in the year 1981, we are introduced to Arthur Fleck, a man who earns a meager living as a clown for a company known as Ha-Ha's. He is plagued by severe depression and finds solace in the joy he can bring to others through his performances. His daily routine involves advertising a store by twirling a sign and dancing spiritedly, attracting the attention of onlookers. However, one day, a group of mischievous teenagers steal his sign and lure him into an alley, where they viciously attack him, leaving him bruised and battered. In this period, Gotham is crippled by a surge in crime, soaring unemployment rates, and widespread poverty. Arthur regularly visits a social worker to manage his medication and mental health issues. On a bus ride home, he interacts with a young boy, making him laugh with amusing faces. When the boy's mother reprimands Arthur, he breaks into uncontrollable, hysterical laughter, handing the woman a card that explains his neurological condition, which causes his sudden and inappropriate laughter. Arthur resides in a deteriorating apartment building with his frail mother, Penny. They spend their evenings together watching a TV talk show hosted by Murray Franklin. Arthur frequently daydreams about appearing on the show, capturing Murray's attention, and charming the audience with tales of his devotion to his mother. In his fantasy, Murray empathizes with Arthur and invites him on stage, sharing a heartfelt hug. Arthur discovers Penny's past as a former employee of millionaire Thomas Wayne, who she has been writing to in hopes of improving their living conditions. Arthur's colleague at Ha-Ha's, Randall, gifts him a gun for protection after hearing about Arthur's assault. Arthur is hesitant but also somewhat relieved to have a means of defense, even though firearms are strictly prohibited at work. His newfound confidence is soon quashed by his heartless boss, who berates him for losing the sign and deducts its cost from his paycheck. Arthur can only respond with a bitter smile. In his building, Arthur encounters his neighbor, a single mother named Sophie Drummond. He is drawn to her and tries to connect over shared life struggles, but his awkwardness often gets in the way. He even follows her one day, prompting her to confront him. Arthur confesses, but Sophie is surprisingly unperturbed. He seizes the opportunity to invite her to his upcoming stand-up comedy gig, winning her over with his charm and humor. He studies other comedians to learn the art, but his inauthentic, exaggerated laughter only further emphasizes his feeling of not belonging. On the night of his performance at the comedy club, Arthur's nerves get the best of him. His laughter, a coping mechanism, takes over, making it difficult for him to deliver his act. Despite the challenges, Sophie's presence in the audience, and her laughter at his jokes, gives Arthur the courage to continue with his performance. A subsequent gig at a children's hospital turns disastrous when Arthur's gun falls out in front of everyone. His boss fires him, blaming him for the incident. To add insult to injury, Randall falsely accuses Arthur of procuring the gun himself. On the subway ride home, still dressed in his clown costume, Arthur witnesses 3 drunk Wayne Enterprises employees harassing a woman. His uncontrollable laughter draws their attention, and they begin to beat him. Pushed to his limits, Arthur uses his gun to kill 2 of them in self-defense, and he chases down and shoots the third on the subway stairs. In the aftermath of his horrific actions, Arthur finds himself in a nearby public restroom, panicked and in disbelief. As he grapples with the reality of what he's done, a strange energy surges within him, and he begins to dance alone. Looking into the grimy mirror, he sees the battered face of a clown staring back, powerful, defiant. He stashes the murder weapon and returns to his apartment, where he shares a passionate first kiss with Sophie. News of the triple homicide spreads like wildfire, with society polarizing in response. Some decry it as an assault on the affluent, while others applaud it as a justified act of rebellion. Thomas Wayne steps up to condemn the murders, derisively labeling the working class as clowns. The oppressed populace of Gotham embraces this term, transforming it into a symbol of resistance. Meanwhile, Arthur is let go from his job at Ha-Ha's, but not before confronting Randall about his betrayal and damaging the time clock machine in a fit of rage. As he leaves, he feels an unfamiliar sense of liberation and joy. He observes the civil unrest he inadvertently incited, realizing his growing influence, which brings him a strange sense of delight. Arthur later discovers one of Penny's letters to Thomas, which suggests that he is Thomas Wayne's illegitimate son. Intrigued, Arthur visits Wayne Manor and interacts with a young Bruce Wayne. After a playful magic trick, he tries to force a smile onto Bruce's face, pondering the possibility of them being brothers. But their interaction is cut short by Alfred, who vehemently denies Penny's claims about Thomas. Arthur reacts violently but catches himself when he realizes Bruce is watching. He quickly leaves the manor, leaving Alfred and Bruce behind. Later, Arthur confronts Thomas Wayne at a public event, reiterating his mother's claims about their connection. Thomas counters with a shocking revelation: Arthur was adopted, and Penny had been delusional. Devastated and confused, Arthur laughs uncontrollably, provoking Thomas to hit him and have him ejected from the premises. Arthur returns home, his despair manifesting in self-destructive behavior. The following day, detectives Burke and Garrity visit Arthur to question him about the subway murders, suspecting a connection due to his recent termination from Ha-Ha's. Arthur denies any involvement, and they leave. Shortly after, Penny falls ill and is hospitalized. Sophie stays by Arthur's side as he cares for his mother. During their hospital stay, Arthur watches a clip of his stand-up act on Murray's show, only to realize that Murray is ridiculing him. Unexpectedly, Arthur receives a call from a representative of Murray's show, inviting him to appear as a guest. After some hesitation, he accepts. Seeking solid proof about his parentage, Arthur visits Arkham Asylum to obtain Penny's file. When a clerk refuses to provide the information, Arthur grabs the file and escapes to read it in solitude. He discovers that the harsh truths Thomas Wayne had shared were accurate according to the official documents. Penny had adopted Arthur, who was found abandoned as a baby, and she had abused him severely. One record mentions a head injury that might be the cause of Arthur's uncontrollable laughter. Struck by the horrifying reality, Arthur visits Penny in the hospital and suffocates her, claiming he now sees his life as a comedy. Arthur then breaks into Sophie's apartment, where he experiences a jarring revelation: all his previous interactions with Sophie were delusions. Devastated and remorseful, he apologizes and leaves her apartment. As Arthur prepares for his appearance on Murray's show, he whitens his face with paint. Unexpectedly, his former colleagues, Randall and a dwarf named Gary, stop by his apartment. They express their condolences for his mother's death but quickly reveal their ulterior motives. Randall mentions that detectives Burke and Garrity have been questioning them about the subway murders. Arthur, realizing that Randall is trying to save himself at Arthur's expense, loses control and savagely kills Randall by stabbing him multiple times in the face and smashing his head against the wall. Gary, horrified, begs for his life. Arthur, after playfully scaring him, lets him go, thanking him for being the only person who was kind to him. He even helps Gary open the door, which is too high for him to reach. Next, Arthur transforms himself completely into his clown persona. He dyes his hair green, covers his face with clown makeup, and puts on a burgundy suit. He dances down a flight of stairs, fully immersing himself in his newfound madness and freedom. Detectives Burke and Garrity spot Arthur and try to apprehend him. Arthur flees into a subway train filled with Gotham citizens dressed as clowns, inspired by the subway murders. Using a clown mask from a protester, Arthur hides and inadvertently incites a riot on the train. In the chaos, Burke accidentally shoots a clown. The clowns retaliate, attacking the detectives and allowing Arthur to escape. At the television station, Arthur meets Murray and his agent Jean. Before going on stage, he requests to be introduced as the Joker, a moniker Murray gave him when mocking his stand-up act. Arthur insists his clown makeup has no political meaning, claiming he doesn't believe in anything. As he waits backstage, he sees Murray airing a clip of his failed stand-up attempt, which spurs a change in Arthur's mindset. Arthur enters the spotlight as the show begins. He tells a darkly humorous joke, which only he finds amusing. Unfazed by the audience's discomfort, he admits to the subway murders. The audience and Murray slowly grasp the seriousness of his confession. Arthur accuses them of caring about the victims only because they were rich and connected to Thomas Wayne, while people like him would be overlooked. The confrontation escalates, with Arthur angrily telling another joke. He yells, "What do you get when you cross a mentally ill loner with a society that abandons him and treats him like trash?" Murray tries to cut him off, but Arthur furiously retorts, before shooting Murray dead on live television. The audience flees in terror, and news of the murder spreads instantly. For the first time, Arthur laughs genuinely. Following Arthur's act, Gotham descends into chaos, with rioting citizens donning clown masks. Thomas and Martha Wayne, leaving a movie theater amidst the turmoil, are cornered in an alley by a clown-masked man. Using Arthur's punchline from the Murray Franklin show, the man shoots the Waynes dead in front of their son, Bruce. Meanwhile, Arthur is arrested and taken away by the police. As he looks out of the police car window, he laughs at the carnage he has instigated. An ambulance driven by rioters crashes into the police car, killing the officers and freeing an unconscious Arthur. When he regains consciousness, he is surrounded by a cheering crowd of clown-masked rioters. They celebrate him as a hero. Arthur revels in their adulation, standing atop a car, bleeding from the nose but smiling broadly. He smears the blood across his upper lip and stands triumphant before the rioters. Arthur is later seen in Arkham Asylum, a place where he had spent some time earlier. He laughs as he tells his story, visualizing young Bruce Wayne standing over the lifeless bodies of his parents in the alley. Arthur realizes that he has, in a twisted way, turned Bruce into someone like himself, alone, traumatized, and a product of society's failings. This realization strikes him as incredibly funny, and he laughs heartily. During a session with a new social worker, Arthur says he wants to share a joke. However, he decides against it, remarking that she wouldn't understand it. A few moments later, Arthur leaves the room. As he walks away, he leaves behind a trail of bloody footprints. This final scene provides an ambiguous ending to the story of Arthur, the man who would become the Joker. It leaves open the question of what exactly transpired in the room with the social worker and what will happen next to Arthur. It is a fittingly chaotic and uncertain ending for a man who has embraced chaos and uncertainty as his way of life. Make sure to subscribe our channel for more videos like this. Thank you and have a nice day.